This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday and welcome to another edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Andrew Paterson, Michael Remis with ya. We got a fun one today. We're going to catch up with our pal Sara Orlesky. Been a great offseason for the Jets off the ice. Obviously, the signing of Jonathan Tait, but thinking more about the social media award, the incredible work Sara's done with Runway. So we'll catch up with Sara, see how she's doing, and look ahead to FanFest, training camp, and the upcoming season as well. A little bit later on, we'll get the latest on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Nothing today to report. Presumably this will be the closed practice, but Dylan Mitchell was out in the slot earlier this week, finally getting some reps with the ones. We'll get the latest on the Bombers as they prepare for the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday night with our go-to guy from BlueBombers.com, Ed Tait. Fish are coming back this weekend. Travel day today, back at home tomorrow. And it is the Manitoba Social Night with a heck of a hilarious giveaway. We'll check in on the Fish who are trying to get some wins going together after a really, really tough month of July. And then Jake Bolin from Coolbet's going to pop on. A lot of happy Coolbetters and WSTers thanks to Canadian tennis sensation Vicky Mboko with her incredible win last night. We'll talk about that with Michael. We'll also talk some Jays and a look ahead to the NFL preseason tonight and the upcoming NFL season. So it's going to be a good one. We got a hell of a football game tonight in the CFL. A rematch of that 70-point classic a couple weeks ago between BC and Hamilton. This time in the Hammer, thinking that it could be sold out. One of the great rivalries right now in the Canadian Football League is Luke Wilson versus Hamilton Tiger Cat fans. Luke has been challenging them to fill the building tonight. So hopefully they will be able to do that. And it should be a real fun one. We'll get to that a little bit later on as well when Michael Remis joins the program. But some Jets talk, some Bombers talk. We will get to the Blue Jays who absolutely humiliated the Colorado Rockies yesterday, but now move up not just a weight class, but go from the bottom, I would say, of the major leagues, but that's a team that should be relegated to AA, as I tweeted yesterday, all the way to the top with the most stacked team in the majors, the LA Dodgers. Man, Shohei Ohtani last night, hitting homers, pitching. Going to be awesome, but that's the big weekend series for the Blue Jays as they continue their road trip out west. We're going to get to all of that coming up on the program. We'll get Remo in here in just a minute. Just before we do that, a huge thanks to the sponsors that make WST happen each and every day. Of course, our partners at Coolbet, who also present all of our WST winners content and CFL 110. If you missed it yesterday, new CFL 110 is out with myself and Jeff Hamilton, live right now on the YouTube channel. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. Would love, give a thumbs up and leave a comment as well. Always love your feedback on CFL 110. We've had some great stuff from CFL fans and certainly do enjoy hearing all of that. Of course, Princess Auto, a week today. Bombers back at Princess Auto Stadium. Manitoba Battery, Rollies Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center and Canadian Club. Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge, F Apparel, Little Brown Jug, Royal Sports, Boston Pizza, the Winnipeg Goldeyes, Assiniboia Downs, Breezy Bend. We'll get to a why not question of the day for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. And, of course, always open to your fan feedback. We'll do a fan feedback segment for fansfirst.ca. Remo, what's up? How are you?
Hey, looking ahead to CFL starting up this week tonight. That is a big game. I think that's the highest total of the week, BC and Hamilton. And trying to get updates here on Bomber practice. Looking forward to having Ed on as that game on Saturday. Will we finally see Dylan Mitchell suit up in a Bombers uniform? And you mentioned the tennis. Was captivated last night by Mboko in the semis, and the final against Osaka is at 5 p.m. So we'll be watching that. And John Horn yesterday, some incredible tennis insight. So setting up that one, and should be another great one tonight in Montreal.
Yeah, there was quite a few people, I think, that heard John on our program and decided to put a little financial backing behind Vicky Mboko, and man, did that turn out well. Coolbet had the boost to plus 220. I actually missed getting it at the start of the game. She lost the first game. I got it in at plus 280. And then there was a exclusive or a combo thing that they had of the Jays to win and Vicky to win, which was plus 390. So it was a very, very fun night and a successful night if you were backing the young Canadian phenom. Oh, by the way, speaking of Coolbet, if you missed the show yesterday, Coolbet always has incredible promos and prizes and gifts, and because of how closely we work with Coolbet, we're doing a special Winnipeg promo with Winnipeg Sports Talk and Coolbet for the Labor Day Classic. All you need to do to get in the marble race, which will determine the winner, is send us an email to contest@winnipegsportstalk.com with your Coolbet username and a screen cap of any bet of $10 or more. It doesn't have to be CFL. If you're hitting the Jays, if you're hitting the tennis, whatever it is, you can do that. If you haven't played a Coolbet before, you want to check it out and get into the draw, go there, sign up, use the promo code WST when you make your first deposit. We'll double it up to $200. But again, a screen cap of any $10 bet or more. Email it to contest@winnipegsportstalk.com. And 2 weeks Friday, we will do a special marble race with everyone that's entered, and the winner will get 2 seats on the Huss bus with myself and the 1930 crew out to Regina. 2 nights in the hotel, transportation, and a lot of fun on that transportation, I might add, from Winnipeg to Regina. Transport to the game and back. There's a VIP reception, a couple other things, some great swag in the swag bag. An awesome, awesome prize, especially if you are a big Blue Bomber fan. But even you Rider fans are welcome if you want to join us. So, again, contest@winnipegsportstalk.com. If you have any questions, fire us a DM. But Remo, just quickly on the tennis, if you were watching that match last night, it was truly incredible. I mean, for an 18-year-old girl to have that sort of will and fight in her, lost the first set, came back, battled hard to get it to a third set, and was down a break and broke back twice when Rybakina was serving for the match to get it to a tiebreaker, and made some incredible shots. And the atmosphere at that stadium in Montreal, if you were watching it on television, you could really feel like you were watching a very special moment in Canadian tennis and Canadian sports this year.
Yeah, and we just had Eugenie Bouchard retire, and you kind of think of her in her more recent career, but she peaked at number 5. Was the first Canadian men or women to advance to a Grand Slam final. So that was really the start of this new era of Canadian tennis, and to have this young woman in the premier event in Canada in the semifinal, it was awesome to watch the crowd behind her. She talked about how much of a boost, because you saw how tired they were at the end. They were giving everything, and John Horn noting that Victoria Mboko starting the year ranked world number 333. He's got 52 wins now. It's only the start of August. He's now world number 34. So someone to watch going forward. And it was an awesome match last night. My dad was texting me, "Hey, you got to turn this on." And I'm like, "Yeah, we talked about it on the show." We had John on, giving all the great insight, and looking forward to tuning in tonight for this.
It's kind of wild. Jeannie, of course, played in this event, and it was her retirement event. She had that great win in the first round, which sort of, I think really got people paying attention, realizing that this event was on. and Vicky Mboko's taken it from there. You know, Jeannie, I think, sort of got slagged a little bit, probably unfairly, you know, because of her looks. I mean, let's face it, she's gorgeous. I mean, she's in the SI swimsuit issue. She was really active on social media. And people sort of questioned as to how seriously she took her tennis. But man, you think back that 2014 season, she made it to the finals of Wimbledon and the semifinals of the Aussie Open and the French Open, and was in the fourth round of the U.S. Open. I mean, truly one of the greatest years. I mean, there has been since then Bianca Andreescu, Leila Annie Fernandez, you know, having some big wins and big runs in some Grand Slams that hasn't before. But for Mboko, this is, I mean, one of the biggest events of the year. I mean, they categorize these tournaments as a 250, a 500, a 1,000, and then the Grand Slams. And at 18 years old, unseeded, if she wins her match against four-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka, she will move into the top 30, 35 in the world and will be seated at the U.S. Open. So there's a lot on the line for Mboko, but holy smokes, was that an incredible moment last night. And yes, I would make a point of being in front of a tube when she and Osaka go at it for the final. The other thing that happened yesterday, Reem, was an absolute massacre on the diamond. Now, we saw it start while we were on the air. At the end of the show, I turned on just to see the rest of the fireworks for the Jays. They put up 20 on the Rockies. And listen, the Jays are hot. No team had as many hits in a 3-game series, 65, since the 1901 Cleveland Spiders. So we're talking about records that go back a century and a quarter. This Rockies team, as I tweeted yesterday, is an absolute disgrace. And I kind of feel for the players. I certainly feel for the fans. And I know you've talked about this with a lot of teams in Major League Baseball simply putting up the white flag, cutting their salary, taking the revenue sharing money, and not competing at all. I'm not sure we've seen a better example of that. Well, last year, I mean, the White Sox were all-time bad. They lost 121 games. The Rockies are right there, but I guess with the altitude, they're not just losing. They're being absolutely pounded, humiliated on a nightly basis. And yesterday, we were looking at the Major League Baseball standings and noted that the second worst team in run differential in the entire majors was the Washington Nationals at minus 142. After yesterday's game, the Rockies are minus 316. I wasn't even joking when I said this team should be relegated to Double-A ball right now.
Yeah, 45 runs in 3 games, Hustler, against the Rockies. That is a new record, a Blue Jays record for a 3-game series, and 43-21 since May 26, best record in the American League. So did not see this coming, this Blue Jays season, but that's the reality. They're here, and we're on Jays Watch, a huge series this weekend against the LA Dodgers. And you're looking at, okay, who's going to be the favorite? Well, American League, I think it's kind of up for grabs. Could it be the Blue Jays, Astros, Yankees? I've been watching a lot of Mariners. They're on a bit of a heater here. But in the NL, the Dodgers, they're the team to beat. So tomorrow night at 9 p.m. It's going to be a couple late ones here. How's this starting matchup? Max Scherzer for the Jays against Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. Now, this isn't 10 years ago or anything like that, but still some big names on the hill. And you hope we talked yesterday, hopefully Shane Bieber can be a big acquisition for the Jays. We'll see how that plays out. But a big series, big litmus test, big measuring stick here this weekend at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, and the Dodgers seem to be, I mean, they've sort of been sleepwalking through the last couple months. They've had a lot of guys out, but they seem to be playing a little better as of late. I'm just looking at the matchups for the rest of the series after Scherzer and Kershaw. Saturday, it's an 8-10 game Winnipeg time. Chris Bassett at 11-5 with a 4.12 going up against Blake Snell, who's 1-1 with a 3.21 ERA. And then Sunday afternoon, will be the finale of the series. And Eric Lauer, who's been incredible for the team, going up against the Japanese sensation Yamamoto, who's got some pretty nice numbers. At Lauer, that's a great matchup, Reem. 7-2 with a 2.59 ERA for Lauer, and Yamamoto 10-7 with a 2.51 ERA. Too bad we won't see Ohtani pitching, but we did get a chance to see him do that last night. And it was funny. I mean, he's just such a unicorn. He's out there hitting the go-ahead home run before heading back to the dugout to continue to pitch. That being said, they didn't end up finishing the job as the bullpen gave up 3 runs in the final 2, and the Cards beat the Angels 5-3. Or sorry, beat the Dodgers, I should say, 5-3 last night. So we'll get to see Ohtani hit, not pitch, but it certainly will be a big one. And this is a off day for the Jays, which is important because they have played so much baseball when you look at their schedule since the All-Star break, when you include that doubleheader last week in Baltimore. So a day of R&R, and then get ready for what will be one of the, it could be a signature series of the entire year, going up against the heavy favorites to win the World Series in Shohei's Dodgers.
Yeah, some mind-blowing numbers from Ohtani that we haven't seen from anyone like in 100 years. Ohtani yesterday, 4 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. That's just pitching. At the plate, had a homer, a walk, and 2 RBIs. Since RBI became an official stat in 1920, he's the only player ever to hit a home run, strike out 8 batters, drive in more runs than he allowed, 2-1, and draw more walks, 1 than he allowed, 0. Now, he can't do it all. The Dodgers did lose the game, but incredible stuff. And I agree, series, it could be season-defining series. We saw the hype for the Yankee series at Rogers, Rogers Stadium now, Rogers Dome. Anyways, looking forward to this one this weekend.
By the way, lots of great stuff in the chat. Shout out to Tico J. Hey, watching from Alberta. It's a thing of beauty when WST is on duty. Thanks for your hard work, boys. We all truly appreciate it. Cheers and go Jets go. Hey, listen, appreciate that, Tico J. And yeah, listen, the one thing that we commit is the consistency of the show. We're here. I'd take a couple days off. Connor and Remo handle it. Remo's going to be off for a bit. Connor and I will get it done. But we'll be here throughout August. And then come September, Labor Day, and then it is go time on the season, training camp. And I see Darwin Moore is getting impatient for the upcoming season. He says, go Jets, go. Don't follow tennis. Get on with hockey. I will tell you, Darwin, there is not a lot of hockey stuff to talk about, although we can wish Sidney Crosby a happy birthday, 38 years today for the Canadian hockey legend. But we will be talking about the upcoming Jets season with Sara Orlesky coming up in a few minutes. And Remo, always fun to have Sara on, but we figured this is a great time with individual tickets going on sale today for people that want to get their hands on it. The upcoming 15th anniversary season for the Winnipeg Jets. And of course, Sara can take a bit of a victory lap for the Stanley that she and the social media team did after such an amazing season with the Jets. And I say we'll get her to talk on the Runway Series as well, including that epic finale that concluded the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, it was announced a couple weeks ago that the Jets social media team won an award for their work this season, and we were getting messages. You got to have Sara on to come and talk about it. And that runway, that final episode has basically a movie, and they're all on the Jets website. You can watch them on YouTube. They got a playlist for all of them. So it's awesome to have that type of content to document what was a historic Jets season, and should be a very interesting one coming up as they try to defend the President's Trophy. They added Jonathan Taves and celebrate the 15th anniversary. I wonder if the team has anything up their sleeve for the 15 in terms of celebrations, or if they're going to be bringing in any players or any certain profiles. So we'll talk with Sara, see what their plans are for the social media team for Runway, as she's already started looking at the schedule and planning the content for next year. So I guess that does confirm that Runway will, of course, be back.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It was a good bump for WST. We got a lot of run in that Runway show.
I loved that was the best part actually of Runway, watching it and be like, wait a second, that's my voice, or we did that clip. I remember that, and to have that on what is like a time capsule, going to be a history book of the last Jet season, have our clips on there, and I'm going to look back on that. I don't know when I'm older, or later on. It's so cool to have.
Dude, we've already beaten the odds in many ways. Who would have thought that Winnipeg Sports Talk would outlast Howard Stern?
Yeah, Stephen Colbert, yeah.
NFL, Stephen Colbert, the NFL's ownership of its own NFL network.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes in and around the media world, but we are here going into year 5 and season 5 of WST. I'm excited.
There are a lot of changes going on in the media being announced, and it is the Jets' 15th year, and I'm very thankful that I've had a front row seat for pretty much all of them. So excited to see what happens in this upcoming year as we're starting to get ready. I did see Coolbet had futures. Starting to think about that. Fantasy drafts beginning to get scheduled. We talked about the Tkachuk family on the cover of NHL 26, which is back to a September release. So I may have to buy it as I count down to the start of the season. Connor's already challenged me, so we'll get ready.
We're gonna hype that up. That's gonna be great. I'll do commentary. The Remis Connor NHL head-to-head matchup will be legendary. That'll be that's what we'll do. We've talked for a long time about streaming some games on the YouTube channel.
It could be the game, yeah.
That might be the one that we have to start it off. I see Bailey the intern. What's up, Bay? Looking forward to hearing what my idol, Sara O, has to say. Yes, Sara will be up in about 5 minutes or so. And Konopoli, I agree. Typically, the all caps of Konopoli dropping. Basically, Ohtani on his own could beat the Rockies. That was pretty good stuff. Hey, one other thing that happened last night that I should have mentioned right off the hop, Seabears got a win. Fun night last night, and I wasn't able to make the game, but I'll give our friends at CGOB a shout out. I had to do some running around later on last night and got a chance to listen to pretty much the entire second half and target score time on OB. I thought Christian O'Mell does a great job. They had Kelly Moore in the booth, and it was maybe a little closer than they would like to make it right at the end. Niagara got a little bit back into it after a good start for the Seabears in target score time. But that's a nice win. And again, it's not really as much, Remis, about getting wins. I mean, they're not chasing a playoff spot. We know that this team is going to be in the championship weekend coming up here in a couple weeks in Winnipeg. But after such an up and down season and so much of a turnstile, it seems, within the roster, nice to see the Seabs getting some wins and some big performances from some of their important players as you get closer to trying to pull an upset and make it to that championship game on home court.
Yeah, big win last night against Niagara, who Will Richardson, 21 points, Simi Chateau, 19, Jalen Harris. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. Will Richardson had 20 and Simi Chateau had 14. So, hey, they came up with a win. It's been a weird season for them, a lot of roster turnover, but all that matters is how are you playing right now. They can finish off the home portion of the schedule, the win on Friday. They have another game and kind of waiting around here until the semifinals. So I'm expecting a lot of basketball celebration going on championship weekend. It will be very exciting. We've never had that here. And the Seabears will be taking part. And what a story that would be if they could upset, Vancouver 17-5 right now. I mean, they have to get there. But Calgary, who Joey told me, they've been Vancouver's kryptonite. So one of those two, looking like the favorites in the West.
Bobby B in chat saying, hey guys, any word on the WST Jets package for 2025-26, or have I missed it? You have not missed it, Bobby. Just now that the schedule is out, we're working on a couple things. I'm meeting with our friends at the Jets a week today. So we hope to early the following week roll it out, have the dates, have everything for you, and you can all jump on it. And for those of you that are listening to this going, what, WST Jets games? Yeah, we the last 2 years we've been doing Jet games with the crew. All are welcome. It's been great to see so many people meet each other in person for the first time that they might know through the chat or recognize their YouTube handles. First year we did a 4-game package where if you bought it, you got all 4 of those games. Last year we did a game of the month, and it worked out well because there were a couple of times where someone wanted to buy, but they couldn't make one of the games, so it didn't make sense to get all 4. So we'll put something together, hopefully have a couple options for you, some games. And I guess, Remo, I mean, the bar has been set pretty high. The first year of the WST package, it started off at a very ominous note. We will all remember that LA game, the 3rd game of the season, the Dubois return. Dubois scores. Gabriel Velarde got hurt. Dylan Samberg got in the first fight of his career and did not very, very well because there was a stick right in front of his face. So that was a real downer. Crowd was brutal at that night as well. We lost the next 2 games, and there was an ultimatum that if the Jets did not beat the Calgary Flames to give us a win at the end of the season, we were maybe going to be banned from doing these games. Well, the Jets got that win, and we went 6-0 last year. So the WST crew has been on a big heater. The games were great, and they all ended up in wins. So great to see that there are a lot of people fired up to get together with the crew up in the 300s for some games next year. And as I say, probably in about 10 days or so, we should be ready to launch that and have you be able to go on the site and pick up your seats.
Yeah, we had a really big crew last year and really came together as a group to go perfect season. And if you do want to be the first to know, we'll send it out on our email list. So the description of this video, the description of the podcast, or the bottom of winnipegsportstalk.com. Make sure you are subscribed, and we'll send it out first there so you can get first crack at the tickets. And no, because as much as we think everyone listens every day to every minute of the show, some people are in here and out. They're off for summer, but that's the best way to get notified on when our ticket package will be announced. And it's really hard. There's a lot of really good games this year, so it's going to be fun putting it together. Yeah,
and listen, with individual tickets on sale today, we'll see where they're at. I would love to get, we may have a limited number of seats we can get for the home opener. I guess we'll see. That would be a hell of a game to do as a group. But the schedule I've just found, and we'll talk about this with Sara, Reem, the schedule I find is just so much better this year when it comes to the dates of the games. We basically played every Tuesday for the first half of the season at home, minus a couple weeks. When you look at the October schedule, a lot more Fridays, Thursdays, Saturdays, which I think people enjoy much more. Sometimes a little tougher to get out Monday, Tuesday, early in the week. Well, anyways, listen, we'll get to Sara and we'll bring her in just a moment. Before we do that, huge thanks to Rolly's Transfer for their support of WST. Folks, if you got a move coming up in the city in southern Manitoba, lean on Rolly's. They've been the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba for over 60 years, family owned and operated. They have an amazing new website, including the WST truck, which maybe you'll see in on the roads around the city this year. Click on that top right corner, request an estimate, put in the promo code WST. They'll hook you up with a special discount on moving services and moving supplies. And then simply let them know when and where you're planning on moving, what needs to be moved. And our friends at Rolly's will turn it around quickly with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove service and treatment that Rolly's is famous for. For all your moving needs, make it Rolly's. Find out more, request an estimate today at Rollies.com. All smiles with our friends at St. Patel Dental Center. I know many of you might be getting the kids ready for an August appointment before they get back to school. And some of you will also be going, you know what, it's been a minute since I've actually gone to the dentist. Maybe you've been negligent. Well, what you should do is get on over to St. Patel Dental Center. Our pal Dr. Terry and his great staff will be waiting for you. Of course, they've got a beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's. with free parking, conveniently located right behind the building, state-of-the-art equipment, and a full array of dental services for people from 6 months old to 99 plus, ranging from cleanings and checkups all the way to things like dental implants. For all your dental needs, make it St. Vital Dental Center. Tell Dr. Terry that the boys at WST sent you. You can make an appointment and find out more today online at stvitaldental.ca. Well, we are into August. I know it feels like fall's just around the corner, but man, we've got a lot of great summer left. And for all that boating and camping and good times that you're planning on doing, maybe with holidays coming up, make sure you pop by Manitoba Battery and get locked in for all the batteries that you're going to need. Donnie always says, wake up Winnipeg. Stop wasting time and money at the big box stores when you can shop local and get the best prices in town, period. Anywhere at Manitoba Battery. Now with 2 locations, Logan Avenue and of course Dovercourt Drive in the south end of the city. They've also got free delivery for any battery purchase over $60 inside the perimeter. You don't even need to leave. They'll bring it to you. And of course, you can save up to $60 a battery for things like boat and camper batteries right now at Manitoba Battery. Find out more and order online at manitobabattery.com. All right, this is going to be fun. It's been a minute since we've had a nice check-in with Sara Orlesky. So let's bring in Sara right now to see how her summer's going and look ahead to the 15th anniversary season for the Winnipeg Jets. Sara, what's going on? How's your summer been?
It has been great. I cannot believe we're in August. And I'm sure everybody says that as well, but how it is that the month of July just flew by, and before you know it, we're going to be into training camp and the players are going to be returning and hockey will be back on everybody's agenda.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Listen, there's been a lot of excitement about the team, coming out of the playoffs, obviously with Jonathan Toews and all that. But, I mean, having worked on the other side of things, I can imagine things around your office right now are getting very busy because you come on that other side of the August long week and you're like, we got a hockey game in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? It does. It just in the blink of an eye, as I said, we're going to be back doing it. So there's so many things that as everyone ramps up and returns from summer vacations and gets refocused on this upcoming season. So there are, when you look at whether it be single game ticket sales, you look at the packages that are out there and just trying to get everything ready for this upcoming season because people are so excited. We know in this city every time that a new season starts, but especially I think when you look at how last season went, winning the President's Trophy, getting through to the second round, but the exciting postseason that they had as well, the off-season signings, there's so much to look forward to. So I think there's a lot of anticipation for September and October to roll around.
No, there's no doubt about that. First off, some congratulations are in order. Listen, I think we all consume the content from the social media team throughout the year, and we have some fun with it on our show. Pretty cool for them to be recognized amongst the entire National Hockey League as the best outfit to do it last season.
Well, gotta also give a tip of the hat to you and Remis, who made your appearances in some runway episodes as well. So we always appreciated your help. But yeah, what? We're so excited to be able to be recognized and win the Stanley. It is such a great, I'll just speak on behalf of the content team, but we have such a great and talented group, and they're so much fun us to work with. I mean, you've seen, a bunch of the guys or seen them around the rink as well. And just everything from the hilarious posts and witty posts that they do on social media, on the various platforms to runway, home ice, a variety of things. It was great to be recognized because I love to be able to see everybody rewarded, and hopefully everybody now going forward will pay even that much more attention to what the Winnipeg Jets content team is doing.
Well, listen, I mean, I wasn't expecting that you were behind all the memes and some of the comments.
I don't know why not. That doesn't seem like me. Half of them I have to Google.
There is sometimes a generational gap when we see some of these things.
Just a few times. But just awkwardly has sometimes in meetings where I'm sitting there and I have to, sorry, what was that again? What was that TikTok trend? So, yeah.
But I did want to give you specific congratulations on the runway series. And obviously it was cool for us to be involved in some of them, but I mean, it was so good all year. And listen, I think a lot of people still might have not seen the epic coming out of the playoffs. And listen, I get it. I mean, we were all disappointed that the team wasn't able to get past the Dallas Stars. And for a lot of hockey fans, you put so much into the season, you just kind of have to shut it off and get away for a little bit. But that final piece from the season of the playoffs was one of the most dramatic and well put together things, honestly, I've ever seen. So I'm sure that was a big part of the win too. But maybe just speak to how that has developed, and a quick plug for that one if people want to kind of revisit the end of last season before getting fired up for 2025-26.
Yeah, actually, if you go on to the website or the Winnipeg Jets app, I think you can find on our YouTube channel. You're able to go back and watch all of the episodes. There were 10 throughout the regular season, but then, as you mentioned, the one that was 45 minutes long, we lovingly refer to it as the movie, that our group put together. And a special shout out to Carter, Hunter, and Tyler for the job that they did shooting it, and then with the editing as well. It's one that really took, I thought, fans through the journey of it. And what I loved about it personally was that you had the perspective of the players, of Scott or Neil as well, that either broke down specific moments, talked about. I thought Adam Lowry was fantastic in it, in giving that insight of, that fear of the pressures, and there was the concern, were moments going to be too big for them, and doubt creeping into your mind when you look at that first round series against St. Louis. And so I honestly think, I'm obviously not impartial because I think it was pretty great. But I think that fans should go back and watch it if you haven't had the opportunity to. It will get you excited. I think it tugs at the heartstrings as well, but it really tells the story and of this team. And you left it, or at least I hope fans watched it and left it thinking, wow, this is a tight-knit team. This is a brotherhood. And we always talked about it, and you and I have talked about it numerous times over the last couple seasons, about just that feeling in the dressing room that you could tell. Players always talked about how it's a tight-knit group. You could feel it when you were around the team. But you really got that sense when you heard the guys talk about what they had been through in the journey of the season. And it was actually fun. I went back the other day and rewatched all of the 10 episodes from the regular season, and just seeing then the guys in the first episode at training camp talking about some of the things, and then being able to see about how it translated throughout the season and how it ended was great. So it's certainly, Runway is a labor of love, and looking forward to continuing it this upcoming season, and hopefully being able to take fans even more into their Winnipeg Jets fandom and help it grow.
Well, people can binge watch the entire season, getting ready for training camp and Fan Fest and everything coming up next month. A couple parts of it, obviously. The behind the scenes of the, the team with the tragedy of Mark's father passing away is something that I think we'll all remember. And that's sort of the real heavy part about it. And I get giddy just thinking about the goal in Game 7 to tie it up. That is a moment, like for people of my age, we grew up with, and I was lucky enough to be in the building for that Dave Ellett goal against the Oilers in 1990. And that was something that I kind of, had never experienced again. And we didn't win the series either, which kind of was, a little bit of a, the bad aftermath. But that moment was something so special. And this generation now has that for the Cole Perfetti goal, and then obviously winning it in overtime. That will be something that will be iconic for this franchise moving forward.
100%. And it symbolized so many things. That was so exciting to have that goal and send it into overtime. Thrilling. To be able to win the series, for it to happen in Game 7, unbelievable. And we know what that atmosphere is like inside the arena and outside as well. When you look at the street parties, and I think, credit to Jets fans all season long. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I really felt that the energy in the building last season reminded me so much of the early days of the Jets, and just there was an electricity in it that I just thought continued to build and build. And then obviously there's nothing like the whiteout, but for the excitement. And I've been very fortunate throughout my career to cover, whether it be Stanley Cup finals and a number of key moments, but to be able to be a part of something like that and see it firsthand and be able to feel that energy and just that relief, I think, and jubilation from players. I mean, Neil Pionk, joked that he could, about everything about not being able to feel, he couldn't feel anything because he was just so exhausted from it. And to be able to witness that firsthand, and I think for those that didn't have the opportunity to, but watched it on TV or watched it out in the street parties or various spots, I just think exactly what you said. It is a moment that if you are a Winnipeg sports fan, you didn't even have to be a Jets fan. It's extra special if you're a Jets fan. I just think that if you are a Winnipeg sports fan or you are from Winnipeg, that just the pride that everyone felt for it, it's something that's certainly going to go down in sports history in the city.
Well, I can tell you we're all ready to get after it come September, and I guess we'll have Fan Fest and then the preseason and then right back at it with another year. We were talking yesterday on the program, actually, and I hadn't really thought about this too much, but Fan Fest and the home opener, Jonathan Toews is a Winnipeg Jet. And obviously there was so much talk about will it happen? It's happened, and you kind of get through the summer. But I was just thinking about, the team being out there for Fan Fest and having a guy that is going straight into the Hall of Fame here in his hometown. That's certainly going to give you a lot to work with for a runway of 25, 26.
Oh, I know. Look, selfishly, I understand that fans care about everything that happens on the ice. Selfishly, I'm all about storylines. This needs, and so to be able to have someone that is not only from the city come back, but as you mentioned, an immediate first ballot Hall of Famer, an icon the way that he is, to be able to have him come back and play. And something that it's funny because I still remember saying, and I don't remember if it was maybe just it was only a couple years after the Jets had returned to town. And I was doing an event with Jonathan that he was at as well. And he and I were talking, and at the time, so he would have been in his mid-20s, maybe. He I can't believe you came back. And I'd moved back from Toronto, and the perspective of someone that's in their mid-20s versus somebody that's in their later 30s, getting there, wanting to be able to come back. I love being able to see the transition. I'm really excited to be able to talk to him about it, Sierra, and what it's going to be like for him to be able to come back. And I know that all things Toews are flying off the shelves. They're restocking all the time because they've been selling a ton of jerseys. So that we are going to see so many 19s throughout the arena this year. But to be able to have a storyline like that, I think is so great for this city and for him personally to be able, we saw that emotion, just say in Colorado, when Landeskog came back and was able to play, and he's not from there. Now you add in, I think the entire hockey world is going to be watching to see the return of Toews regardless of where he played. But I think that everybody loves what hope is a storybook ending, to be able to have him play and hopefully help lead this team to even more success this upcoming season.
That might have been the most high-profile move of the offseason, but great to see Gabriel Velarde back for 6 years, Dylan Sandberg 3. I know fans are kind of hoping that might be a longer one, but I think there's still a very large door open for a path for another contract after that. Although I imagine you'll miss dealing with Nikolai Ehlers on a daily basis. He was certainly fun and was always a good muse for the series.
He was always one of my favorites. So even intermission interviews with TSN broadcasts over the years or anything, he was somebody you could always talk to, you could joke around with as well. And I used to give him a hard time because I don't know if you noticed a lot of his answers at the end of whether it be intermission interviews or even at scrums, he would go, yeah. Just, okay, that was how he ended it. But such a great guy. But you mentioned, to be able to lock up Velarde, and we've seen obviously the success that he's had, and how for him to be able to talk about how he felt as if Winnipeg was home and that he felt that connection to it. You love to see that. And then we know it's, speaking of content, I mean, not only am I excited that Taves is back, but Dylan Sandberg, whether you were talking, the entire content department was thrilled because he and his wife Destiny are both wonderful people that are always game to participate in some of the antics that we have going on or helping out with runway and stuff like that. And I think you look at what he was able to do last year, people had they needed him to take that step up with Brendan Dillon leaving, but not knowing exactly how it was going to go, obviously. So to be able to see him step up and into the role the way that he did was great. Looking forward to being able to see him continue to build on that. And hopefully, that this is that mid-range deal, but then is just the beginning, though, that we'll be able to see him stay here long-term, because a great guy on the ice and off the ice. And we know that he's always willing to block shots. And I don't know sometimes how they do it. Because I look at some of those shots from the point, and I think, no, I don't think you could pay me enough. They get paid a lot. I don't know if it's enough to willingly fly down in front of some of those ones.
Well, listen, I think people are fired up to see him take the next step in his career. And obviously, Gabe Vilardi, I mean, he is so important to this team, especially with the loss of Ehlers, that
100%.
You need to have that offense. And I mean, I think considering his injury history before, we were wondering about how long that deal was. But I mean, for Gabe to sign it and then say, hey, I'm hoping in a couple of years people are talking about how this is one of the best deals in the league. And that is not something you normally hear from NHL players when they sign contracts, which is great. Which brings us to the season. Now, I guess we'll have FanFest on the 20th. You get right into the home schedule for the exhibition calendar on the 21st. And then into October with that home opener against the Dallas Stars. Jonathan Tait's return is going to be wild. But
there's so many storylines in that first game. Huh?
Oh, listen, I mean, and I would imagine that there's quite a few of those tickets going right now because, of course, individual tickets on sale today for people that don't have packages.
Yeah, and there are so many games, I think, this season that you could look. If you look at that schedule, so I printed out a bunch because I was working on trying to plot out runway episodes, actually. So and it's one thing to know that with this condensed schedule, obviously, because of the Olympic break, you knew that it was going to be. We talked about it last year when they had their Four Nations break as well. But when you actually see it, it's just when it's really in front of you, you go, wow, you look at some of these January and March. I mean, with Jets fans, you are going to have your fill of hockey. But there are so many games and so many storylines this year, I think, even before the first puck is dropped, where you look and go, yes, I want to be at that game. How could you not want to be at that home opener for that there are banners that are going to be up there that you're going to be able to see, that Taves is going to be there, just the excitement and around being able to welcome back this team and what it could mean for them. And then you add that they're playing the Dallas Stars. Giddy up, a Central Division game right away and a playoff rematch. I'll take it any day of the week.
Yeah, so folks, if you want to get your seats and you haven't already, head on over to winnipegjets.com today. Individual tickets are on sale for the upcoming 2025 season. And of course, the home opener is on the 9th of October against the Dallas Stars. And then right back at it with the 12:30 game on the Saturday, the 11th against the Kings. And that's going to be a day where there's games staggered throughout the entire day for hockey fans, which would be a hell of a way to get going with the season. I guess one of the
Are you a fan of early games?
I hate them. I find that the early games don't have the juice of the night games, especially on a Saturday.
Yeah.
At the same time, when I say I hate them, I mean, listen, I'm still going to the game. I'm still into it. I'm still there. I mean, there's a level, but I mean, I'll say this, whatever. We got one early Saturday game. I love the fact, I mean, you look at October, I mean, 3 Thursday night games, a Friday night, a Saturday night, the one Saturday afternoon and one Sunday. In the last couple of years, we played every Tuesday night for like the first 10 weeks of the season at home. A slight exaggeration, but not much. So I think the days of the games have been a real improvement for people. I mean, let's face it, the life is busy. Usually early in the week, there's a lot more going on. I think by the time you get to Thursday into the weekend, it's a much better time for most fans to go to games. So I certainly love the way that the games were distributed for home game nights. But yeah, if it's up to me, give me Give me an 8 p.m. Saturday game as opposed to a 12:30 game Saturday. Maybe I don't speak for all, but I'll tell you what, these earlier games, though, are a great opportunity for people to, maybe bring kids that don't normally get a chance to get to games. And we saw a lot of that last year. And listen, you're trying to build a next generation of Winnipeg Jet fans. There's nothing like giving them a chance to get in and be a part of the experience for themselves.
100%. And that is it is obviously different if you're looking Saturday and it's 12:30 versus 7:00. But what's one of the comments that we always make about postseason games, especially when it comes to Jet start times, that so often you get hooped in the really late times, and it's challenging to be able to bring up that next generation and see some of them. So these are the opportunities where you can bring the younger fans in, hopefully get them started in it. And whether you're watching in person or you're watching on TV, you can still do that. See, and I like earlier games, but that's just because selfishly it makes for a shorter day. You can be home for dinner. You can still, if your kids have other sporting events, you can usually still make it to some of them. So I like the balance of it. And we always hear that Connor Hellebuck likes early games. So let's be honest, that's really more important than both of us.
I support Connor. He is Mr. Matinee, as we've called him for many years. So listen, and the bottom line is, with what the Jets have been doing over the last couple of years, pretty good chance you're going to be showing up and seeing a win. WST games, we were 6-0 last year, and we're thinking, that's amazing. And you look and like, well, they didn't lose very much last year at home at all. So hopefully we can continue again with that this year. It is the 15th anniversary, and I know there'll be more details coming out about the event, but I mean, just crazy, first of all, that we're talking about 15 years of this team coming back from 2011, which is dating all of us. But anything that you have for us to look forward to, or things that you guys are working on for the anniversary season?
Well, you know what? I think throughout the year, you'll obviously see different pieces, whether it be content or different things that are happening in game. But it's, as you mentioned, I can't believe that it's 15 years. And much like you, I mean, been very fortunate to be able to cover the team since day one. And there aren't many of us that have had the opportunity to do that. So it's crazy to look back at some of those early, the first training camp, and look at how young, Mark Scheifele was, and how young you and I looked, Huss, just back in the day. But there's been so many I can't believe that time's gone by that quickly. And you think about how many great moments have happened. And hopefully obviously that there's even better ones to come in the next 15 years. But you just think of whether it be milestones or different, Bufflin in that first preseason game. You think about memories with him, or Line or the game-winning goal or game-tying goal in Game 7. There have been so many different things throughout those 15 years. And I think that key to so much of it has been the environment that Jets fans have created, and this city, and the way that they've embraced it. And so kudos to the players, but kudos to the fans too. And let's make the 15th season the best one yet.
You mentioned 2011. I mean, and how young Mark Scheifele looked. I was just thinking about a baby-faced Adam Lowry, who's now the grizzled captain of the Winnipeg Jets, who just got engaged on the weekend too. I'm sure everyone at the office was happy about that.
Oh, very happy for it. Are you kidding? I mean, we always love engagements and weddings over there, but what a delightful couple that have done so much within this community as well, and continue to make their mark. So we were happy to see the longtime couple. We were happy to see him finally propose to her, and hopefully, I would like to pitch to him that seems like a great inclusion in a runway episode. The big whenever they decide to get married, but.
You didn't have a team of cameras when he popped the question?
I mean, don't think I'm not going to bring that up with him. This is a little bit selfish to keep that as long as between them.
To defend Adam. Come on, we got to go back to back. This would have been perfect.
I mean, a team isn't just on the ice, Adam. It's off the ice as well. But big congratulations to them. And you mentioned, though, I mean, how much of it. Look at them. Huh? Lovely couple. But you mentioned what a baby face was. And every time, I mean, I've talked to him before, and about how I feel as if he's growing up. And look at him. I mean, he looks like he's in high school. It's the same thing when you look at sometimes Cole or some of these guys. Shifley was so young in his, but I love when you look back at old photos of all of them. Although I gotta say, I would hate to have my picture taken every year and be able to document it. I don't know about you guys. The 10-year passport is a beautiful thing. Same thing with the driver's license picture. My daughter looked at it the other day and said, what exactly did you get this photo taken?
Oh, I'm sure you love that.
Yeah. That's what daughters are for.
Hey, listen, before you go, by the way, incredible work on the t-shirt cannon at the Bomber game a few weeks back. That was, getting you back with the CFL and TSN team, putting you to work on the field. I was loving to see that. But actually, I just did want to ask you about that because that was, of course, Milt Stiegel's return.
Oh.
And that moment was, I mean, you were right there. Just what do you remember about that night and just the support for Milt after that tragedy for his family?
I mean, look, my heart has absolutely broken for Milt and his wife, Darlene, their youngest son, Colin, just everybody, because I can't, as a parent, I just can't even imagine it. And so your heart breaks for them, and then so excited to be able to see him back because obviously my connection with him throughout the CFL and TSN, but Milt and I worked Grey Cups at the Score together when he was still with the Bombers. So I think I worked my first Grey Cup with Milt back in 2004. But so for him to be able to come back and be that CFL and TSN panel is so incredibly tight. They are such a family. And so to be able to see him come back and then come back with them in Winnipeg, that ovation, there are certain players that have a connection to a city. And I think everyone across the CFL loves Milt Stiegel. And so the response would be strong anywhere. But I think that when you look at the respect and the love that people have for Milt, it tells you not only about this community, but it tells you about, basically, if you love this city and you love these fans and you show respect, I'll get emotional just thinking about Milt, how much love they give you back. And I know he talked about how much it meant to him. And it's just to be able, I think, for him to be able to see firsthand, it was just, sorry.
It was, no, you listen, it was, I feel the same way. And
tears with Sara.
Listen, I thought about it at the same time, many times just about, how much he meant to the people here and how much it was reciprocated. And I'm not sure we've ever seen an example. I mean, we've seen Solani and all the guys come back for the Heritage Classic, and that it was totally different. And that was the entire week. I said, I think this is going to be like a 32,000 person group hug on Milt, and that's pretty much exactly what it was. And
it just kept going. Like, that's what I loved, is that you thought that, so it was so strong at the beginning, and then there was a second wave of it.
Yeah.
And it just, it could have gone on. And that's it. I think that if everybody, watching fans, come down and try to talk to him while he was on the set was incredible. And I think people just wanting him to know, obviously, how much they felt for him. And that, what I love about Milt, I mean, he's such a wonderful person, but as I said, his love for this city and appreciation for this city, you see him come back. I mean, we still see him. He does hospital lotteries, and he's still very connected. It's never just been a spot where he played his career. It's another home for him. And I just think that for him to be able to, even though I think he knew it, for him to really be able to see it and feel it, it was a truly special moment to be able to witness.
Well, just having all the TSN panel there, and obviously having you a part of it, made it even more special. Sara, thanks so much for doing this. Cannot wait for the season, Fan Fest, and of course that home opener. We'll look forward to chatting again, and congratulations to you and the entire team on the Stanley, the first ever in Jets history. It was great chatting with you as always.
Enjoy the rest of August, and hopefully we'll chat sometime soon.
Thanks, Sara. All right. Thanks again to Sara for coming on. What a great conversation that was. We are going to get to the Bombers. Big one, Saturday night. Bit of a revenge game, considering what happened between the Bombers and Stamps earlier this season, not once, but twice. Ed Tait's going to join us in just a minute. Of course, a week from today, we're back at Princess Auto for a Thursday night game, August 14th, against the Ottawa Red Blacks. Princess Auto Stadium, home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And of course, Princess Auto is the place where you'll find the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is at Princess Auto. So pop by and see him in store, Panet Road, Portage Avenue West in Winnipeg, Brandon as well, or shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. With another beautiful weekend coming up, folks, I urge you, if you are making a trip into your local Manitoba liquor marts, to go over and check out the Canadian Club display. First of all, you can get your hands on the limited edition Winnipeg Blue Bomber label Canadian Club, Canada's favorite Canadian whiskey, the original. Of course, Canadian Club is the official spirit of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but also get your hands on the Canadian Club Club Pack, which is 4 premixed CC and gingers, 4 half and halves, lemonade iced tea, and 4 of the new citrus smash. I've tried all of them. They are all wonderful. If you're looking for something a little different this weekend, pick up the Canadian Club Pack at your local Manitoba liquor marts. And hey, fellas, if you're looking ahead to fall or maybe a wedding coming up and you need to up that menswear game, head on over to F Apparel at 190 Smith Street downtown. Custom suits starting at just over $400. Chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, both tucked and untucked styles, and the best selection of menswear accessories you will find in town. 190 Smith Street is where you'll check them out in their beautiful new showroom, or head online to EPHapparel.com to make an appointment. And if you are getting married or in a wedding party, make sure to talk to the fellas at F about a special discount for the wedding party when the boys get the suits for the big day down at F Apparel. All right, let's get to some Bomber talk right now and welcome in our good friend Ed Tait of BlueBombers.com. Eddie, what's up? How are you?
Awesome, fantastic. How are you? Remember we said last week I would join you again if the Bombers ended the losing streak. So it was a weird one, but they got it done last week, didn't they?
Sure made for a more upbeat August-long weekend for Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans. It's sort of crazy, but it had basically been a month since the team had won, and they needed it. And I will say that is not the way it was drawn up, but being in the building in another absolutely incredible crowd, one of the best I can ever remember at Princess Auto Stadium. The bottom line was find a way to go 1-0 that week, and the Bombers did it, albeit in a very unconventional way.
Yeah, you're right. First of all, 9 consecutive sellouts now. That's amazing. And you're right. It was a pretty electric night, but a weird one too, right? You get 2 kick return touchdowns and a defensive touchdown in the first half, build up a big lead, and then still have to hang on at the end. And there was a lot of weird stuff in that game that I think kind of bleeds into this week too. So it's never a dull night at the Princess Auto Stadium, right? That's for sure. But this is something that I'm going to be writing about in the next couple of days. We still need to get some answers from this team, don't we? Because, it looks like there might be a couple more changes, and just trying to add it up. Zach Collaros has missed 2 games outright and only played in a half of a couple others. It seems like he hasn't got into a rhythm, and that sort of impacted the whole offense. So, again, a lot of things they have to fix going into Calgary against a team that's beaten the snot out of them the last 2 times they played.
Yeah, the results of the Calgary game will be front and center as we go into McMahon for the 3rd matchup. Just back to Friday for a minute. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk to you about Trey Val. First of all, how do you pronounce the last name? People are asking, is it Vavel? Is it Vaval? Are we wrong on both counts?
I had it at Vavel. We had him on our huddle show this week, and a fan, we take fan questions too, came near the end and said, "How do you pronounce your last name?" And he said, To be honest, I don't even know, which is a weird thing for a guy. He said that he's heard all kinds of different ways, and there's no wrong answer.
Alrighty then. So we won't stress about it too much.
As long as he doesn't,
right. No one's offending him. He does not know himself. Yeah. Listen, that kickoff return was such a massive play. And listen, obviously, like you get pick six, down 7-0 after a relatively good start for the offense, a field goal off the post. And you sort of had that feeling like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could have possibly happened to the team, trying to get out to a lead and play Bomber football. And for Val to pick it up and take it the distance and immediately tie the game was massive, obviously, just because you're not playing catch up. But I also thought, Ed, it was very, very important for Chris Streveler. Like, you know, to have a play like that early in the football game after what had happened in the previous games, and to have to go right back out there the very next play and get back on offense, I thought that the time that allowed the defense to get back out on the field, the offense to sort of reset, like the timing of that play, I thought was huge in the Bombers retaking the lead. And then obviously he did it himself later on in the first half as well. Just one of the more memorable performances from a returner we've seen in a long time, and that includes Janarian Grant.
Yeah, you've hit on a couple of things here that are kind of important, I think. To your point, so the Bombers get that first possession, and Sergio clanks one off the upright. So that's a bit of a downer, right? And then the pick six right on the next possession, which was, you know, it's a great play by the Argos, but the way the things are going for Winnipeg's offense, it's like, oh, here we go again, right? So the building, even though it was sold out, I don't know about you, Huss, but it felt dead. And then for Vaval, Trey to do his thing, it really energized everything again. And you're right, it allowed people to kind of reset. He was this is an amazing stat to me. The club's been around since 1930. He's the first guy in Blue Bombers history to return a kickoff and a punt for a touchdown in the same game. And he did it in the first half. So you consider all the great returners in this team's history, including Janarian Grant, but, you know, Javon Johnson, Keith Stokes, Eric Blunt, Albert Johnson III, Leo Lewis, all kinds of great ones, Paul Bennett. For him to be the first to do it, it's pretty remarkable. And I still think this guy's just scratching the surface. After the game, and I've written about this, and I know other media people have too, he was really honest and open about his emotions and the stress of becoming a pro and not wanting to let people down, and how the fumbles previously were eating him alive. And so there's a guy, I mean, as much as the team needed it, there's a guy that needed him for himself too. And he might just be scratching the surface here. That he's a very special kick returner too, who has a lot of the same characteristics as the guy he's essentially replacing in Janarian Grant.
Well, the guy that he was originally replacing is Peyton Logan. And,
right.
You know, a few more games like that, and we won't be spending much time talking about him. Is there any update on him? I mean...
Yeah, he practiced early in the week and then was kind of geared down again. So I guess you would call that small steps or progress a little bit. But I go back to the beginning, Hassan. I'm sure I was on with your show and said the same thing. I thought he was the biggest offseason signing for this team. And here we are 7 games in, and he hasn't played it down. And the guy that's replaced him at a training camp doesn't look like he's coming out of the lineup anytime soon.
You know, the other guy that really stood out, you know, we have to mention was Willie Jefferson. And listen, I got too much respect for Willie as a Bomber legend to say that, you know, he was a no-show earlier against Calgary, but really was not impactful at all. And that was a big reason why Vernon Adams was eating the Bombers up on, you know, second and long consistently throughout that game. Thought he was better in the home game, but we saw what a Willie Jefferson playing to max potential can do for a football team. And Ed, I mean, we've seen him have a lot of big games and do a lot of special things. That one was right up there with the best of Willie Jefferson. And it was a game that they absolutely needed everything they got out of the defense, because the offense never really got going outside of the one touchdown drive they had.
Yeah, that's, you know, those are the kind of games you see from Willie and you wonder why he can't do it every week. But to me, that was, you know, if you're to rank the best of Willie Jefferson as a Blue Bomber, I think I'd put last year's Grey Cup, even though they didn't win, as the number one game he's ever had. I mean, if the Bombers were to somehow win that game last year, he would probably have been the MVP. But this one would be on a top 5, I imagine, just to your point, Huss, because of the way he was able to disrupt things. He also had the strip sack of Arbuckle that led to the Jay Person fumble recovery touchdown. And then all the stuff he does at the line of scrimmage that, he knocked down 4 passes, which was just one off the CFL record. But it's also all the other times his hands up there, maybe, getting in Arbuckle's face or taking away his line of vision. That's when Willie Jefferson is at his best. If he's not getting around the edge or getting around the tackle and blowing up the pocket, he can still be a force at the line of scrimmage. And that rotation they've got going now with him and James Fodders and Jay Person, who's really coming on, it's really interesting because there were a lot of times last week's game where they had 3 ends on the field at the same time. And if those are the results, I mean, I think Jordan Younger will be saying, hey, we need to do more of this on defense.
Looking ahead to Calgary, the last 2 games weren't close. I would suggest that every aspect, offense, defense, special teams, need to be at another level if they're going to hang with the team that is going to be energized by the return of Vernon Adams, it looks like.
Yeah, you lose to a team by 3 touchdowns in each game. We haven't seen that in these parts for a long time, right? So
no.
That's what's been disturbing about the 2 games against Calgary. It's not, a missed field goal here or a breakdown at a critical moment. They've been beat downs.
They weren't close.
And then they followed that up with that stinker they served up in the rain in Toronto a week after that. That's why there were so many alarm bells kind of clanging in Bomberland heading into last week's game. They've got to clean up some things. And, I talked about Zach Claros being in and out of the lineup. That's something they need continuity at the quarterback position. I'm stating the obvious there, but it looks like there's going to be another change in the secondary this week because Jamal Parker Jr., who replaced Marquise Bridges at corner, and he was injured. We saw Trey Vavel come in and finish the game for him. But Dexter Lawson Jr. has been getting a lot of reps at that one corner spot. So there's another change in the secondary. They've already moved Reddick Cramdy to safety. So there just seems to be a whole lot of uncertainty and, the lineup is unsettled. We're seeing the same thing on offense where maybe Dylan Mitchell can finally get in this week. So they need to find their starting 12 on defense and on offense and run with it a little bit here because I think they are being hurt by this many changes, and some of it's by performance and some of it's by injury. So, this is going to be the 8th game of the season. We're getting close to the halfway point. You start to need some continuity in your roster too.
Eddie, speaking of changes in the secondary, how does Bridges go from a starter to a backup to a practice roster player to the unemployment line in like 2 weeks?
It's really, he's a good dude. And I hate to rail on social media, but I saw all kinds when we announced it yesterday that he'd been released, all kinds of people just, wanting to kick him to the curb. And I know that's pro sports, but remember in week 1 or the Bombers' first game, he had 2 interceptions and everybody was raving about the guy. And I just think that over time, the Calgary picked on him and the Bombers were victimized by some explosion plays. He's not alone. Other guys have been picked on too. But they moved some pieces around, and I mentioned Dexter Lawson Jr. He was one of the last cuts in training camp. He's a guy that's played in a couple of years, spot duty with Hamilton in the last couple of years. So they brought him back, and I think they just feel more comfortable with his knowledge and the fact that he's not going to get burned he's seen everything already. So he's not going to get tricked on something like Bridges was on a couple of those plays. And maybe is a better communicator. All those things are issues in the secondary. And as much as the defense played well last week, DeMonte Coxie ate them alive again. That's 2 weeks in a row that the Argos receiver had huge numbers against Winnipeg. And we know that Calgary's receiving core had huge numbers in the 2 games against Winnipeg. So it's an area they've got to get figured out. It's weird because I think the front 6 is playing a lot better defensively. We've seen that. You mentioned Willie and Vaughters and Person, and those guys are playing well up front, but it's the back end. That stuff's got to get figured out because you can bet that even though there's been another change and the Bombers are comfortable with Dexter Lawson Jr., that the first thing Dave Dickinson's going to do when it comes to Saturday night is say, well, let's try this guy out. Let's test him and see if we can get him to bite on the same things that Bridges did in those 2 wins.
Yeah, they're going to definitely need to be ready for some action with what Calgary's throwing at. That being said, Calgary does have some injuries in their receiving core, which I think were a big part, not only combined with the loss of VA that saw them lose last week by a similar number that they beat Winnipeg to Ottawa of all teams. Right. So offensively, Ed, great news on the injury front. Stanley Bryant is back. Zach Collaros is back. He'll be starting. But we're still seeing some more movement in and around the offensive pieces. And the guy that everyone was talking about last week for his absence seems to be getting a bit of a run with the ones at practice this week. What is the latest on the Dylan Mitchell saga with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
I think that's a good description for his saga. He hasn't even played yet and is a bit of a soap opera in a way. So the team didn't practice yesterday, or they did practice yesterday. It was closed, and they're not practicing today, mostly film work and that sort of thing. They've been doing that recently before a travel day. But the last I saw of the team at practice, Dylan Mitchell was running with the ones. They had looked like they moved Carrick Wheatfall around, but all those guys are moving around. I mean, for his sake, I got to give him credit. You know, he's been asked to do a few interviews and talk about the why, and he's said the same thing over and over again. He trusts the organization, he trusts the coaching staff, but it is, I don't doubt that it's been frustrating for him. You know, one of the biggest or the marquee signing for the Bombers in the offseason, hasn't played a snap yet, but he had a really good couple days that I saw, and it was more representative of the Dylan Mitchell I remember from his days in Edmonton. I was on here before, Huss, when we were trying to explain why he wasn't up when Dalton Schoen went down and then when Cody Case went down. But he had a good week of practice. And the weeks before, he really hadn't done anything to pop out. But now that he's running with the ones, maybe that's all it took to give him a little bit of boost to his ego and his confidence. But he looks comfortable out there, and he looks a lot like the player that we saw in Edmonton. So if he gets in, the depth chart comes out tomorrow. If he gets in, I'm expecting he will be. You know, for his sake and for the frustration that he's gone through, I hope he lights it up on Saturday. I hope he's awesome. And then we can put this debate to bed and let's see what he can do down the stretch here.
Well, here's the thing, and we could talk about what it costs to get him here and the signing bonus and all that stuff. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers need a guy to step up and make some plays at the receiver position. I mean, Zach Collier, like Nick Dembski, who was on the show yesterday, by the way. Check it out if you missed it. It was awesome, as always, to talk to Nick. He's having another brilliant season, on pace for another 1,000-yard campaign. But other than that, I mean, Wheatfall had the big start to the season. He's gone a little quiet. Claircius had that one massive game. Other than that, I mean, we really haven't seen much in the passing game. And if this team wants to get anywhere close to where their goals are, they're going to need to be getting some explosion plays of their own as opposed to just dealing with them on the other side of the football. And let's face it, there was a reason why they signed this guy. Who knows what's happened or why it's taken this long to get in the lineup, but both for the team it's important and for the individual. When you wait half a season to finally get into a game, I don't know what could possibly be more motivating than that to show that you got a chance and it's time to step up and make something happen.
Exactly. So to your point, Winnipeg right now is 7th in passing, and you know, Collaros and Strudler combined have the worst quarterback efficiency in the league. Collaros 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, Strev 5 and 6. So those aren't good numbers, and you know, you expect more from the quarterback position. But then you look at what's happened to the receiving core with Dalton Schoen down, you know, with Dylan Mitchell not in there. If you know, at the beginning of training camp, we had said that the receiving core was going to be Wheatfall, Dembski, Claircius, Schoen, and Mitchell. A lot of people had said, you know, it might not be the best in the CFL, but it's up there, or it's got potential to be up there. And you take Schoen out of that, then you take Mitchell hasn't played a snap yet. You put in guys like Cody Case, you put in guys like Joey Corcoran last week, and no offense to those guys, but they're unknowns. Quarterbacks need guys that they can trust, and a lot of times that trust is built on their knowledge, the receiver's knowledge of the game and what they're seeing. And I'm hoping that Dylan Mitchell, as they say, is a gamer, and maybe he doesn't pop off the page in practice, but when he gets out there, that he sees what he sees and sits down when he needs to sit down, or on a busted play rolls the way he's supposed to roll, and Collaros can find him and something develops there, because this receiving core will look a lot more stable and a lot different if Dylan Mitchell becomes the player that the Bombers thought he would be when they signed him.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get a few plays like that, moving the chains and, keeping the defense honest only can help the running game as well.
100%.
We certainly will be buoyed by the return of Stanley Bryant. I mean, I think we spend so much time focusing on stats and whatnot that the offensive line often gets overlooked, but talk to any coach. That is where it starts. And listen, the guys that, were in, certainly did everything they can, but there's a reason why Stanley Bryant has all those trophies on his shelf, is because he's one of the best to ever do it. And, as much as listen, the quarterback is the quarterback, but outside of him, there's not many more important players than the guy that is the pillar and the backbone of the offensive line.
100% again, Huss. There's, again, a comfort level when you've got the best left tackle in CFL history, the best tackle arguably manning your blind side. But again, when I talk about roster inconsistency, look at what's happened at that position alone. Stanley's played some games there. Micah Vanterpool started games there. Then he got hurt. Eric Lofton was there last week. So that's 3 different left tackles in 7 games already. And then that impacts what they were doing at left guard, because Vanterpool played there, Gabe Wallace played there. So that's the quarterback's blind side, right? That's the side that has to be protected the most. And there's been a lot of inconsistency there, not in play, but in just who's been thrown out there. So again, getting him back is massive. And again, it comes back to that safety, that comfort for a quarterback again. And when Zach Collaros doesn't have to worry about that end coming over and blowing him up, because 99% of the time Stanley Bryant's taking care of it, I think he's able to step up in the pocket or trust what he reads, or maybe wait for his second or third read to develop before delivering a pass. When you don't know what you have out there, you get the happy feet and, balls get picked off or thrown into the ground, or you take a sack. So that's a big one. You're right.
This, and just from a team perspective, to build off the win against Toronto with a much more complete performance, I would say, which is what it's going to take to beat the Calgary Stampeders, and continue that next week, I would suggest hugely important for Winnipeg, because as much as we don't like to talk about it on Winnipeg Sports Talk, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are playing some pretty damn good football themselves and have really established themselves right now as the team to beat, getting closer to the midway point of the season. And you've got 3 games head-to-head against them later on, but the key is to be close enough that you can make up that ground with that head-to-head, and hopefully get into a position where if you play well in the second half of the season after the Banjo Bowl, that you can be in the mix for that all-important first seed in the West in the bye.
No, you're right. I kind of look at this like a distance race. And, if you get to the bell lap and when the one team is already a half lap ahead of you, you've got no chance, right? So the Bombers need to kind of keep pace right now, and then hope that they could, hope that you could sweep those 3 games against Saskatchewan, or at least get 2 of the 3 to try to still get a home game. But if you don't get things figured out in a hurry and they keep rolling along, it's not that Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl is inconsequential, but if they're too far ahead of you, then it starts to become chase mode for second spot. And I don't think anybody wants that around here with the Grey Cup here in the backyard. So they'll say the same thing, take care of what's in front of you right now. And then they've got Ottawa at home next week too. Those are the most important things right now, but you also have to keep an eye on the teams ahead of you. And if you don't keep pace now, again, when that bell rings for the final lap, you're going to be impossible to make up all that ground.
Ed Tait with us from BlueBombers.com, 6 p.m. Saturday, the third and final regular season matchup between the Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders in McMahon, site of the Stampede Bowl earlier this year. Ed, just quickly stepping away from the Bombers, I'm fired up to see this football game tonight between BC and Hamilton. What an awesome story Hamilton's been. They're looking like they should have a great crowd, hopefully full at the Donut Box tonight. Massive game for BC. I mean, BC is 3-5. They will hit the halfway point of their season with this game tonight. And I would suggest that 3-6 in the West, as it's currently constituted, would be a very steep hill to climb to get into a West playoff spot. Obviously there's the possibility of a crossover. But even then, I mean, it's hard to count on both teams staying underneath. I mean, we saw these teams put up 70 combined earlier, just a couple weeks ago. What do you think about this one tonight between BC and the Red Hot Tabbies?
Yeah, I do believe the Ticats announced this morning it's sold out. So that's cool because
Perfect.
Yeah, that team deserves it. They're playing really good.
The great rivalry right now in the CFL is Luke Wilson versus Hamilton Tiger
right.
Cat fans. And
Yeah.
Listen, I'll give him a lot of credit. I bet there's a lot of people that said, screw that guy. We're going to the game. We're not letting him get one over on us.
No, he's done rankings of the fan bases, and they're last, and I think they're on his numpty list, as he calls it. So I kind of like the energy he's brought. But to your point about the game and the importance for BC, I think BC's better than what they've shown. And that, this is a new coaching staff with Buck Pierce there. But I still think Nathan Rourke's one of the best quarterbacks in this league, and for that alone is worth to tune in tonight because Bo Levi Mitchell versus Nathan Rourke, that's a marquee matchup at the most important position. I hope it's a good one, but to your point about the crossover, you can't keep assuming you're gonna get that crossover unless you take care of business. So, Ottawa and Toronto are still going to have a lot to say about that in the East Division, and so BC, if they want to make the playoffs, however way it is, you need the win to keep pace with Winnipeg, or you need the win to keep that crossover spot in your sights.
Eddie, always great having you on the program. Fill us in on what's cooking at bluebombers.com. I guess tomorrow we'll get a depth chart. They'll do the walkthrough and then travel day. But I know there's no days off for the Blue Bomber content crew. What do fans have to look forward to over the next couple days before we kick off Saturday night?
Well, we had a couple good. We had another handled internally this week with Zach and Darren and myself and Jamal Parker Jr. He talked, we have a clip up now about his travels all over the world. He wasn't a fan of the Colosseum in Rome. We had Trey Vavol, he said he doesn't even know how to pronounce his last name on the Huddle Show on Tuesday.
So funny.
And then we'll have our usual collection of pregame and postgame stuff on the weekend leading into next week. Next week's Wear White and Military Appreciation Game. So it should be fun. Let's hope the Bombers can keep this mini roll going and can go into next week 5-3, which would tie you with Calgary in the standings, even though they had the season series. But I think also mentally you need to get a win against these guys because, as I said before, they've taken Winnipeg to the woodshed a couple of times here now, and you'd like to grab the strap from them and administer a little punishment yourself,
Eddie, great stuff as always. Good luck to the fellas and the squad, and let's hope for another upbeat Bomber conversation on the program next week. We'll hit you up. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, sign me up, Bus. See you later.
Good stuff. There's Ed Tait. You can give Ed a follow on X at Ed Tait WFC. And, of course, all of his work, along with the great content team at the Bombers over there at bluebombers.com. All right. Our friends at Royal Sports are ready for the upcoming season. I know Sara was mentioning, how many Jonathan Toews jerseys have been sold. Certainly Toews, Velarde, some Sandbergs going out right now, and tons of Bomber gear with many exclusives that you won't find anywhere else. So Royal's the spot for that. It took a little bit, but I did get a text from Greg that if you've been looking for new lids and you like the NHL draft hats, the draft hats are all up at Royal Sports right now, so you can jump on those and get a new look for the Winnipeg Jets if you're looking to change up your headwear. And, of course, check out the section of bikes, soccer, softball, baseball, tennis, running, a massive Yeti section. All the cool stuff on the Kings skate, snow, and surf side is there for you at Royal, 750 Pembina Highway. Follow them on Instagram at Royal Sports Winnipeg for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. As I mentioned, I can't wait for this football game tonight. Might be a great night to head over to your local Boston Pizza. saddle up for a few ice cold schooners, some world famous BP wings, some gourmet pizzas, and you can check out the new summer menu as well. You can try, as I did last week and really enjoyed them, the cherry cola beef sliders. Very interesting new menu. Tons of great new stuff at BP for you. And hey, if you are staying at home, you can always get it hot and fresh to your door by ordering online at bostonpizza.com. I am looking forward to a couple of little brown jugs at the ballpark coming up as the Fish get back. Andrew Collier is joining us in just a moment. First up, though, a big cheers to Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, our good friends at Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, we got Manitoba Social Night at the ballpark tomorrow as the Goldeyes are back. Let's check in with the Fish and our pal Andrew Collier, the general manager of the Winnipeg Goldeyes. Cash, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? It looks like you had a great golf weekend.
Yeah. Took balls and GP to the woodshed at Pinawa and Granite Hills. This was no clinic, I will tell you that. This was, but no, we had a great time getting away for a little bit. We were hoping to be at back at Aikens Lake, but we had a backup plan. I think they're getting customers back in hopefully later on this week. So we had to take a time out on that, but it was the next best thing. And it was kind of nice. Fish were away last week, now back in the city this weekend, and the team is back. Listen, just before we get to the weekend, we've talked about on the show a pretty tough and ugly month of July for the squad. How happy was everyone in the organization to turn the page on the calendar to August, where the results, frankly, have been better?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about July. That'll be the forgotten month of the 25 season. Yeah, it was a tough month, but August has started out much better. Got a big hill to climb. So we'll see if we can run the table here and try and get to some September baseball.
Just like the Bombers, let's go 1-0 in your next game and take it from there. And hey, listen, before we get to the return of the team here to the ballpark this week and then everything going on there, I know you went to the American Association All-Star festivities, and pretty cool for a great friend of the program, of Winnipeg, of baseball, and a Goldeyes legend, Rick Forney, in being enshrined into the Hall of Fame after everything that he did for this organization for so many years.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Last year it was Sam and Hal going in. This year, Rick going in. It's so good to see him again. It's funny, when he left, I wondered if I'd see him again for a while, and then he came back for Reggie's retirement, and then last year he was there for Hal and Sam's induction, and I got to see him again this summer. So it's nice to be able to have a chat, have a beverage with Rick, and he brought his wife and son and daughter to the inductions. It's always good to see them.
Where's Rick at this year? Is he still managing, or is he taking a year?
Yeah, no, he's still in York. They won the championship last year, and they're already in the playoffs this year. They do halves there, so they won the first half. They're already in the playoffs. He's got another strong squad there. Rick always puts together good
Is that
teams.
York? Is that Pennsylvania?
Yes. It's like an hour and a half from his house.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right, because he's in DC, or like he's out on the East Coast, I know.
Maryland,
right?
Yeah.
All right, well, that makes sense. Well, anyways, it was great to see Rick. And listen, Rick in that Hall of Fame career has had some incredible seasons here, also some real tough seasons. And I'm interested in just how's Logan handling everything, because, obviously a really young manager, had that great season last year. And it seems like he's been hit with almost everything you could have thrown at you over the course of a season.
Yeah, he's certainly not going to make any excuses, but when you take 7 guys off last year's roster. They all go to Mexico. 2 of the guys that we had signed had high hopes for, never came to camp. Another one tore his UCL first day of camp. Landon Barras has been out for a month with pneumonia. He made his first start in over a month last night. Losing a top line guy like that for a month is very tough. But you know what? They're still out there grinding. Our record in 1-run games is 8-21 this year. We've lost some heartbreaking games, and I text him after just about every game and just throws his hands up and say we had our chances. We guys in scoring position just didn't get that key hit, and then you look at these last 6 games and you get a couple key hits, and that makes all the difference.
Oh, nice pitching too. And you mentioned Landon back on the hill. He had you want to talk about tough luck. I mean, he had the worst luck last year. He lost 4 1-0 games. Didn't allow anything, and the bullpen backed him up last night. A really nice 4-0 win. And imagine the goal tonight, find a way to win this finale of this series and come back on a bit of a roll to the home crowd on Friday.
Yeah, that'd be great. Starting off in Milwaukee, sweeping them, and then real tough travel days, Sunday into Monday, morning game on Monday, and winning that one. Losing the next night in extra innings, another extra inning loss. We're 2-5 in extra innings, but to get the shutout last night, the bullpen's been really good for us lately. So, yeah, get that one tonight. Get on the bus, come home on a happy note, and do some damage at home.
Well, that's right. And it's always great for a little bit of home cooking, playing in the best atmosphere in the American Association in front of the best fans. And I imagine they'll be, the crowds have been great, but I imagine this will be a very, very fun one tomorrow. I remember talking to you about this date at the beginning of the season, and you were looking forward to it. Fill people in on tomorrow's Manitoba social night at the ballpark when the Fish and Sioux Falls, I guess they're finishing up against Sioux Falls tomorrow. Lincoln in as the guests for the social night when you pull out the salami trays.
Well, yeah, first of all, you mentioned social night. This is the shirt we're giving away to the first 1,000. And what makes this the social shirt? It has a salami on the shoulder already. So thanks to ABC Fire and Safety, great sponsors of ours. I've wanted to do the salami shirt for a while now, and we finally got it done. So the first 1,000 at the park tomorrow night, get one of those.
The ballpark will open. This is it's Friday nights are 7, right?
7:00 start. Gates open at 5:30 on Friday nights. We have DJ Anto down at Craft Beer Corner doing his thing. It's always a lot of fun down at Craft Beer Corner, as you know, and you can kick it off right at 5:30.
Well, and I would suggest if you want to get one of those spiffy Manitoba social shirts, there'll be a lot of Goldeyes fans that'll be arriving particularly early. I still am thinking about the jersey giveaway you guys did on the home opener. I mean, that was an absolutely massive crowd. And what was wild, Andrew, is that, you looked around and you saw just about every single person in the building wearing one of those things. Now, this is a little bit of a more exclusive giveaway for the first 1,000. So that will certainly be key for people to make sure they get there early if they want to get their hands on one.
Yeah, the line could be even bigger next year or tomorrow. Sorry, Sam just walked to my office. Hi, Sam.
Say hi to the boss.
Yeah, like you said, get here early for that shirt. It'll be similar lines to opening day, I'm sure.
Now, Andrew, of course, with the Fish being where they are, you often see the team go on the road for a while, then come back. This is actually one of the rare times where they just play a quick 3-game series, get back out on the road. But what it does allow you to do is plan, or wait a second. Yeah, this is Lincoln. Okay, so sorry. So they've got Cleburne next week, a 6-game road trip, then a 1-stop back against the same Lincoln team, and then Fargo, and then back. So 3 of the next 4 weekends are going to be home to Goldeyes baseball, which is always great. I mean, the weekend nights perfect for people to get out if they haven't done so far this season.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, next 3 of the next 4 weekends at home. If you haven't been to the ballpark, I know a lot of people go to the lake in the summer, maybe come home, go to a Goldeyes game before school starts for the kids. One last grasp of summer, come out to a game. So it's weekend games are a lot of fun.
Well, let's keep this August roll going tonight. Finish up the road trip with only 1 blemish and 5-6 wins, and then get on a bit of roll at home tomorrow. And seeing a lot of fans wearing those spiffy salami shirts that you've concocted for the Manitoba Social Night. Andrew, great having you on the program as always. We'll look forward to seeing you at the ballpark this weekend. Good luck tonight and on the weekend to the fellas.
Thank you. Tomorrow night is 7, Saturday at 6, Sunday at 1. Get your tickets, goldeyes.com. Get them on your phone. Avoid the lineup and come on down.
Yeah, that's the place to do it. They do work with Tixer. Go to goldeyes.com, get those done, and then, you can roll right in. Get them in advance, get in that lineup early, and get one of those shirts tomorrow night. Cash, good luck to the team, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff. There is Andrew Collier, GM of the Winnipeg Goldeyes. And it's been nice. You know, we were, the Goldeyes came through big time for Coolbetters. Jake, who's going to be joining us in a minute, set up that Winnipeg 3-way parlay. I know Phyllis was on it. A Bomber win, Seabears win, Goldeyes win, and the teams went 3-0, which was very, very nice. Yeah, if you are a Goldeyes fan or going to a game or want to jump on Goldeyes line, they're plus 112 underdog tonight against the Sioux Falls Canaries. You can get that in the Canadian baseball section. Jake's going to join us in just a minute. We want to talk about Vicky Mboko, the Blue Jays. What I'm hoping will be one of the crazier CFL games of the year tonight. But do want to mention, of course, Goldeyes. We just talked to Andrew. Big game tomorrow night and homestand this weekend. Assiniboia Downs is back at it on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Live racing Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way up until October. And if you are looking to plan a Monday visit out to the track, the next Monday post-Derby this week is going to be August 25th out of Assiniboia Downs. Check out asdowns.com for more information on everything else going on around the track for live racing and on weekends as well. Let's do our Breezy Bend golf report right now. See what's going on at the FedEx St. Jude Championship as the PGA Tour FedEx Cup playoffs are underway. Of course, Manitoba Open coming up in a couple weeks. You will want to get out to Breezy Bend for that. ManitobaOpen.com for more information on the upcoming tournament, volunteering, as well as tickets. I don't know why my computer is not bringing up the PGA Tour right now, so I will do it on my phone. Akshay Bhatia, one of my favorites to bet on, a cool bet, in fact. 8 under. 8 under today for Akshay. And then 2 Brits, Justin Rose, Harry Hall, Bud Colley, all at 6 under par. 4s include Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, Russell Henley, Ben Griffin. I see Matt Fitzpatrick and Wyndham Clark at 3 under par. Scotty Scheffler's at 2 under through 9. Xander Schauffele had a nice start. He's kind of stalled out, though. He's 1 under. And Canadian Taylor Pendrith is the top Canadian right now at 1 under par. Corey Connors even through 10 today, as is Mac Hughes through 8. Of course, check out breezybend.com for more information on getting on the list for Breezy Bend for next season. And, of course, check out Breezy for the Manitoba Open. I'll be doing a bunch of shows at Breezy over the course of the next few weeks as we get closer to the event. All right. I'm just quickly, Jake's going to jump on in just a moment. I do want to get to, well, you know what? We'll do it after Jake jumps on. But why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray? How many of you have been salami shouldered at a Manitoba social? I know many of you would love to get that shirt at the Fish game tomorrow night. And I'm looking straight at you, Tyson Ducharme, Tiquan Apolli, and some of you others. Any of your salami experiences at socials? We'll get to that in Fans First fan feedback coming up in a few minutes. But as we get to the Coolbet lines, let's bring in my guy, Jake Bolin Moss, who, of course, will be joining with myself and Pat Gregoire throughout the NFL season for our weekly WST Winners NFL pick shows. We're going to be doing those on Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Winnipeg time. We will get some preseason NFL content on the channel as well over the course of the next few weeks. But for those of you that have been asking about NFL picks and what we're doing, Fridays, 10 a.m. our time throughout the year here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Jake joins us now. Jake, what's going on? Oh, that Blue Jays hat's looking nice. You must be, are you exhausted from the series against the AA Colorado Rockies and all the runs that went across the board?
Yeah, listen, Huss, you can't be mad about beating a bad team. Good teams beat bad teams, and the Jays took care of business this week. So I think that's a good momentum mover, you know, especially with the way Boston's been playing. And, you know, if you're trying to have the best record in the AL, it was a really nice 3-game sweep, no sweat at any point during the series. Yeah, and I'm feeling really good going into this Dodgers series where, you know, you hope that things don't swing back the other way and you get swept by a Dodgers team that's starting to pick it up right now.
Yeah. Now, you know, as far as we had John Horn yesterday on, and I wanted to talk about this Vicky Mboko. A lot of happy Coolbetters that jumped on the exclusives that we had yesterday. What was it? Plus 390, the one we had for a Jays win and Vicky Mboko. It was boosted to plus 220. I actually missed it. Had to better after losing the first game at 280. It was a very, very good night thanks to this Canadian phenom. But, you know, tennis is not something we talk about a ton, but it's such a huge couple weeks for having both the National Bank Open and the Rogers Cup on it. But I got to tell you, just from looking at the site, there's been a lot of interest in this tournament, but especially with the young Canadian going all the way to the final tonight. And once again, as an underdog against a multiple-time Grand Slam champion and former world number one in Naomi Osaka.
Yeah, I mean, you never really know how these tournaments are going to pan out, right, Huss? And, you know, from a marketing standpoint, a promotional standpoint, you love to see Canadian make a deep run because, you know, it's great content from our end and there's a lot we can talk about and a lot we can cover. I think going into this tournament, both on the men's and women's side, you would have said to yourself, you know, Felix is in great form and Layla was in great form. I think she had just won a tournament of her own. And, you know, you kind of had hope for a lot of these Canadians and it fizzled out early. But Victoria Mboko has just been rolling here and not beating nobodies, Huss. Like, she's beating top level talent right now on the women's side of the National Bank Open and rolling straight into the finals here against Osaka tonight. I mean, you know, she's been an underdog in a few matches here as of recently. And, you know, I think we had her up to plus 220 pre-match yesterday in the exclusives. Yep. We have her boosted again tonight in the exclusives if you want to get behind her. But I don't know how you're not backing her right now, just the way she's playing. And, you know, even last night she goes down. She loses the first set 6-1, and you wonder if kind of the Cinderella run is over. Finds a way to win the second set 7-5, and then takes it in a tiebreaker. Like, the composure for an 18-year-old has been so impressive, and you know, just from a fan standpoint, really fun to watch.
Yeah, and listen, we always tell you to check the amazing promos over at Coolbet and the exclusives. Like, if you just click on Mboko versus Osaka, Mboko plus 153 underdog, Osaka minus 182. But if you click on the exclusives, and listen, if you want to get a piece of Vicky for tonight, this is where you do it. It's boosted all the way to plus 185. Now, there also are some other higher odds options. Mboko to win and 5+ aces is plus 290. Mboko to serve an ace in her opening service game plus 290. The duration over 2 hours is plus 325. Certainly would have hit that last night. Vicky in straight sets is plus 375, and Mboko to win and match to go to 3 sets is plus 450. So some great action in the Coolbet exclusives if you want to get on Victoria Mboko. And by the way, I I mentioned this at the top of the show, but if you pop by later on, we're running our Labor Day contest again with Coolbet this year. They've been nice enough to grab the last couple spots on the Labor Day tour to Regina on the bus that I'm going to be hosting with the 1930 crew. And all you need to do, and it does not need to be a CFL bet. You can bet Blue Jays, you can bet the tennis tonight, whatever. Any bet $10 or more, just take a screen cap of it, send it in along with your Coolbet user ID to contest at winnipegsportstalk.com. Everyone that enters is going to go in a special marble race, which we'll do 2 weeks from tomorrow. And the winner will be grabbing a friend and joining us for what's the most fun weekend of the Canadian Football League season in Regina at the Labor Day Classic. So make sure to take advantage of that if you're playing over at Coolbet. And hey, if you haven't already, sign up, use promo code WST. It'll double your first deposit up to $200. Put 10 on something, send it over to us at contest@winnipegsportstalk.com, and we'll wish you luck in that special marble race in a couple weeks. Jake, I do want to get to the CFL tonight because I've got some thoughts on this game, and we do have it. But as far as the Blue Jays, it's an off day for the Jays. But man, do we have a series coming up. I'm a little disappointed. I guess kind of being a guy that's pulling for the Jays, maybe it's a good thing that they don't have to face Ohtani pitching. He was incredible again last night and just didn't get help from the bullpen. But wow, is this shaping up to be an awesome weekend with the Jays going up against the clear World Series favorites, the Los Angeles Dodgers at Chavez Ravine.
Yeah, exciting times right now as a Blue Jays fan. This is like your measuring stick, right? Like, I know the Dodgers aren't the best team in baseball record-wise, but you talk about a roster, at this level of talent, this is a great measuring stick that if you want to compete to win a World Series, it's teams like this that you're going to have to beat, not just in the playoffs, but down the stretch as well. So we'll see how they compare. I think tomorrow's pitching matchup's really interesting. Scherzer versus Kershaw, two legends of the game, two Hall of Famers, possible Hall of Famers that could go in together.
For sure.
It's funny. I saw that old video, Huss. It always circulates every now and then where it was supposed to be like Randy Johnson versus I can't remember who the other pitcher was. Greg Maddux. It was supposed to be Randy Johnson versus Greg Maddux, and everyone's all excited. And instead, they get Scherzer versus Kershaw, a young Max Scherzer versus a young Clayton Kershaw, and you show up to the ballpark thinking you're going to get this all-time pitching matchup, and you think you didn't, but it turns out you did because you got two legends in their own right at a very young age, and now they're the aging veterans, and they're going to face off tomorrow night. So that'll be a great way to kick off this series, Huss. But yeah, I mean, you get the Rocky series out of the way, you take care of business there, but the schedule's really going to pick up here for the Blue Jays. I just wanted to take a peek at who they have coming up, but I know they're probably going to see Boston here soon, a team that's really been nipping at their tail. So the next few series here, the Dodgers for 3, the Cubs for 3, another good team, the Rangers for 3, another team that, is in the race. Then they're going to get the Pirates, the Marlins, the Twins. So, an easier section of the schedule, although the Marlins have picked it up. They had that sweep against the Yankees last week. That was
hate to see that.
That was that was nice to watch. And then they get the Brewers, best team in baseball. So some fun series coming up. The next 3 will be tough in the Dodgers, Cubs, and Rangers. It'll lighten up a bit with the Pirates, Marlins, and Twins, and then you get the best team in baseball. So a lot of exciting baseball left us. That'll get us into September, and then there'll be plenty of big series down the stretch as the Jays look to try to, not only win the AL East, but come away with one of the better records in the AL and skip that wild card, what we've been talking about.
It's funny you bring that up because certainly the books and the consensus is that the Dodgers are still the best team in baseball, and they are a short plus 250 favorite to win the World Series. And then the Jays have dropped. They were 15-1. It went to 12, went back to 14. They're now in a group with the Yankees, Astros, and Mets at 10-1. The Tigers and Phillies are 9-1. And then the huge gap, and you've got the Dodgers at plus 250. I love you brought up the Brewers because they have been the surprise team in the National League all year long. The Brewers right now, for people that believe, they're the 5th longest odds to win the NL. The Dodgers are plus 150. Phillies and Mets are 5-1. Cubs are plus 650. And the Brewers are plus 750 right now. Padres right behind them at 8-1. Whereas you look at the odds for the AL, and it is wide open, and the Jays have just about as good a chance as anyone. They still like the Tigers as a slight favorite at plus 350. But the Yankees, Blue Jays 4-1, Astros plus 450, Mariners plus 850. The number actually that stood out to me is the Red Sox at 12-1 with how well they've been playing. They're sort of in a similar situation as the Milwaukee Brewers behind a big group, but I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm already in on the Jays to win the AL at 4-1. Maybe a little Milwaukee or, soon we'll start getting some of those World Series matchups options. And I think people are sleeping on Milwaukee and what they've got going on right now. They seem to be a special team that is not showing any sign of letting up.
Well, Huss, I mean, you were on this before the All-Star break or right at the All-Star break. You were like, you know what team I'm hitching my wagon to in the NL? It's the Milwaukee Brewers, and I'm pretty sure they haven't lost a game since then. That's how it feels, right? I mean, I know Cubs fans are feeling it right now because, every single night it feels like you're climbing uphill because you look over at the Brewers score and they're up 4 or 5 runs and taking care of business, in what feels like every single night. Like, I'd love to go see what the Brewers in the second half, what their record is, because it feels like they don't lose baseball games. So I'm just going to check here. Second half.
Nuts. I've got it in front of me.
4 losses, us.
So they're on a 6-game heater right now. They just swept the Nationals and the Braves. They won 2 of 3 against the Cubs. The funny thing, the only team that's really beaten them twice is the Marlins.
Yeah.
They win 2 of 3 against the Mariners, and before that, swept the Dodgers, swept the Nats, and swept the Dodgers again. So by my count, 5, 10, 15, 20. In their last 25 games, they're 21-4.
Us, they have 4 losses since July 6th. Like, it's August 7th, Huss.
Yeah.
They have 4 losses since July 6th.
Maybe we were onto something with that Milwaukee pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were plus money to win the division at that time, despite having a lead. And now their lead, like the Blue Jays, is 4 games at the top of the NL Central. So we'll wait for odds for the Jays Dodgers series to come up tomorrow with the full slate of games. But the futures are up. It's a very late night in the light night, I should say, in the majors. Although we do have Paul Skeens pitching later on today, which is always fun. The only time it's kind of worthwhile to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates. But CFL tonight. This is I did it for the people. We were talking about this on Lock Shop earlier today, and I'm like, you know what? This is not your usual Thursday game. BC and Hamilton, who had a track meet a couple weeks ago at the Dome, putting up 70 points, are playing tonight. BC is a 3-point underdog. The total for this game is 55.5. Keep in mind they put up 70 last week. And we were looking at the passing totals and props for both of the quarterbacks. Bo Levi Mitchell over 312. Nathan Rourke over 325. And while I was talking with Dusty, we thought, you know what? Let's see if we can have just a full-fledged fireworks parlay for tonight. So if you go into the exclusives and you click on Winnipeg Sports Talk, the ride with us today is the Ticats and Lions to combine for 700 passing yards in this game, plus 375 is the number. We always say life's too short to bet the under. What could be more fun in a game that is really hard to pick, I guess, against the spread, to just dive in and say, let every pass go for a big explosion play and just watch another track meet between 2 really fun offenses and defenses that leave a bit to be desired.
Yeah, Huss, I mean, who doesn't love a track meet, right? Like, and I think this is one of those games where you're just excited for points. You're excited for, the craziness that can be CFL football. So, I passed this one along to our guys earlier today when you sent it over to me, and our guy JV is like one of the great, CFL
Shout out
lacrosse bookies out there. He did a great job getting that up for us, and I think you got a little combo as well, Huss. Expecting some more fireworks.
Well, exactly. We were kind of thinking like, listen, this game should have a lot of touchdowns, a lot of scoring. So we put together Kenny Lawler to get a touchdown, Keon Hasher to get a touchdown, and James Butler to score, boosted from plus 725 to plus 825. That's in the combo cards, just under Ride With Us. So that's for tonight's game. And it is right next to the CFL 110 Week 10 parlay. We are on the Elks plus 3.5, which is actually nice because I'm just looking at right now, that game has dropped to 2.5. So we've got an extra point over a real key number on that one. So it's Elks plus 3.5, Argos minus 3.5 against the Red Blacks, and then the final one, Bombers plus 5.5. So that one is plus 493, boosted to plus 567. I would suggest you get that. With the line movement, we've had a couple of the CFL 110 parlays open at really good numbers and then absolutely crater because we were on the right side of lines. So that one hasn't moved too much. You never know that but it could though. So those are both up there right now. And then a bunch of cool NFL props, and we're going to be spending a lot of time talking NFL this month. And then Jake, people are already saying, when are the picks coming? Well, obviously we're not doing preseason picks. There's nothing more degen than really diving into betting NFL preseason, although every now and then it might happen. But starting in September, really fired up. Friday mornings, WST winners, you, me, Patty. Connor's going to be popping in and producing the program, and we'll be doing an extensive NFL pick show every Friday, breaking down the Thursday nighter and getting our best bets in for the weekend. And it's going to be fun, bigger and better this year with you guys on WST.
Yeah, really excited to get on the airwaves weekly and talk NFL football. Like, it's so close, but it still feels so far, Huss. Like, we're still a month away from kickoff, right? I think September 4th is the first game. So I'm excited, but I'm not getting too ahead of myself just yet. There's a lot of research to be done. Haven't even done a fantasy draft or anything like that just yet. There's still some time to get all that in. So
I've found myself way more, like the last couple years, I don't know whether I was fatigued and it kind of like, it was the middle of August. I'm like, oh my God, I got a fantasy draft tomorrow. I got to figure this out. What's happening? I've been like listening to podcasts and paying attention more to stuff like throughout July, and just cannot wait to get going. And maybe it's because we have so much fun with those pick shows, but we'll be doing that again Fridays on Winnipeg Sports Talk in the morning before WST. So you can pencil that in your programming schedule, gang, for those of you that like to join us live on YouTube, and maybe work with the crew that joins us live to put together some special parlays and with a nice little boost, as the guys always do for us up here. Don't forget the promo right now. If you want to come to Labor Day with me, contest at winnipegsportstalk.com. Just screen cap a $10 bet on anything and your Coolbet user ID, and you'll be in the marble race 2 Fridays from tomorrow for a trip out to the Labor Day Classic.
I will say as well, Huss, Labor Day weekend, I have put a request in. We're going to do one of our free spin campaigns, so it'd be great if everyone on the bus is taking advantage of their 20 free spins and see if anyone can cash in with a big win before the game.
You know where to go. Check it all out in the promos. We've got the big golf trip that you can still get in contest-wise on, and so many other great things. And again, every week for CFL bettors, pick your favorite bet. You got this 30% profit boost. If you haven't used it, you can use it for tennis in one of the 2 finals right now. Mm-hmm. There's a baseball one. And again, all you got to do is click on that green button, but you only got one a week. So figure out the one that you like the most. JBM, have an awesome weekend. We'll hook up next week and look forward to getting going with some NFL futures and then diving into the real thing in early September with you and Pat.
Yeah, fired up, Huss. Go Jays, and enjoy the weekend, everybody.
You too. There's Jake Bolin Moss. Give him a follow on X at Jake Bolin Moss. And of course, make sure you're following at Coolbet Canada, Instagram, X for more of the promos that we're cranking out together and some other fun stuff. All right. I do have to get to fan feedback brought to you by Fans First. I asked about this salami, and I knew that some of you would be going on. Rob Mahoney was wondering if I had 27 tabs open on my computer. It was close, Rob. Thank you for reminding me. I closed a few. T. Will, I was the salamer, but was never the salami. Interesting. Phyllis has never had that happen to her at a Manitoba Social, which is interesting. Uke was saying, oh, yes, that was a lovely little bonus to the account. Lots of love for Vicky. Rob Mahoney, was an exciting game last night. I started to lose faith, but she taught me a lesson. Go Vicky. Incredible fight on her. Bridget, I was at a social. I was slow dancing with the guy and felt something slimy. And Natalie, yes. Oh my God, the salami shirt is so Manitoba. Anyways, you can pop that in. And Rob Mahoney saying, does plus mean underdog? Yeah, just for anyone's wondering, for instance, if a underdog is plus 125, for instance, and I'll just use 100 because it's the easiest way to do it. $100 bet on a plus 125 underdog, you'd win your bet back and you'd win 125, so it would pay you back 225. If a bet was minus 125, that indicates that is the favorite. You would have to bet 125 to win 100, and that would return you 225 again, if that makes sense. Good stuff. Jake, hey, thanks for having me on, folks. Go Vicky. Yeah, this is going to be great. And earlier than I thought, this caught me off guard. I assumed that the final would be on Saturday, but I guess they're doing qualifying for the Cincinnati Open already. So we got a little primetime tennis tonight, and that Ben Shelton match last night over Taylor Fritz was awesome. Shelton was an underdog last night. He is the favorite in the event tonight. All right, let's get Remo back in here. Remo, what are your thoughts on this game tonight between the Ticats and Lions? By the way, fan feedback, great stuff as always. Brought to you by Fans First, by fans, for fans, no fees. What you see is what you pay. No service charges, and tickets for the Bomber game already available for next week as the Bombers go for 10 straight sellouts. Fansfirst.ca. We gonna have another fireworks show tonight in Hamilton?
Well, you got the parlay out, so yeah, I gotta say, yeah, the major pass yards, Hamilton, they like to sling it. They don't have any defense, and BC, they're coming off the bye. I think they're gonna be ready. I'm with Ed. I'm not losing faith in Nathan Rourke, one guy who's been really quiet all season for them. Justin McInnes, but Keon Hatcher, he's been the guy. He's second in the CFL now in receiving yards. I believe Coxey's passed him with the two big games against the Bombers. So Hatcher's third. He's 10 yards behind Kenny Lawler. So you got 2 and 3 receivers in this game. Lawler, I mean, you just throw the ball up and he grabs everything. Does Hamilton, they have a bit of a step back here. I know they're at home. It is sold out. One thing we didn't notice, SGA is going to be at the game.
Yes.
Big celebration for him, winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The CFL putting out a picture of the Grey Cup and the Larry OB. And here, that's a pretty nice photo here, Huss. Both in the house. So a lot of excitement there for the Ticats. A lot of supporters there, but also SGA. So I'm going to have to tune that in. I'm surprised, as you mentioned, you're not gambling on NFL preseason. Like, you're not on Shadur Sanders over 124.5 pass yards. You're not, don't want to see his Browns
you know
debut.
what? Let's see right here. I'm going to click on this right now. You mentioned Shadur Sanders is starting for Cleveland.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Is there an interception prop?
I don't think they go that deep there on Coolbet.
No, I don't think
It's just
so.
straight yards.
Touchdowns.
It's kind of funny because every player, like their yardage props are like 20, like receiving
So
or
low.
rushing.
I mean,
yeah.
will they get a play before they're taken out?
Yeah.
Like Bryce Young's over under, he's going to start, I guess, is 49.5. I mean, he's basically going to get a series or two. Sanders, being a rookie, might get more. His prop is plus 124.5. But as I said, I'll probably pay attention to the Chiefs-Cardinals game on Saturday, I believe. Today's the 7th. Yeah, that's on Saturday. I'll record that and then watch it after the Bomber game or at some point on. But I'm looking forward to. It's the annual time where all these morons tell us that the Chiefs are done and the Broncos are going to win the division or the Chargers are going to win the division and that time has passed them by, and then they get going and win the AFC West for a 10th straight time. I've been all over Chiefs camp this year, more so than I have been in a while. And I cannot wait for that game that I'll be at, the home opener, the ultimate revenge game. At home against the team that kicked your ass in the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles. We have to make a bet with Rewicki on that one. But yeah, so Reem, 5 p.m. tonight. It's the Mboko Osaka match, and then is it 6:30 or 6 o'clock for? Yeah, it is 6:30 tonight for this football game. So a lot of great sports despite no Jays tonight, and then we get right back into it with one of the most anticipated series of the year, the Jays against the LA Dodgers, and then Bombers on Saturday. So really creep closer to September, to NFL, and of course NHL training camps.
Yes, NFL, NHL are on the corner. Baseball, pennant races. I have been watching. There's a couple games on today, not many. So I will be watching. I may tune into some NFL preseason. It's that there's nothing else going on, but Lions, Ticats, excited. And yeah, tomorrow Edmonton and Montreal for the Cody Fajardo revenge game. But here we are for the
that game, I was talking with Dusty, it's the double revenge game. It's Cody Fajardo versus MBT, the two guys that got traded for each other in the offseason from these two teams.
Yeah, and they just had such a horrible showing, MBT, last week. So will they be able to improve? And I think Edmonton's looked a lot better with Fajardo at quarterback. So we will see.
Hey, by the way, there's still a lot of talk about the salami shoulders, and I guess there might be some people that are paying attention or watching the show from elsewhere. Darth Skater, what the heck is this salami thing? Let's see. T. Will's got a good description. A running joke at all Manitoba socials is to take a piece of salami from the food they always put out at the end of the night and try to, look at this vocabulary, surreptitiously place it on someone's shoulders. T. Will, breaking the thesaurus out. Tyson Ducharme, none of your friends are safe, Darth Skater. Get them. That was a lot of fun today. Mary Jane, great show, gentlemen. Thank you, Mary Jane. Yeah, I hope everyone had a great, enjoyed the show today. Thanks again to Sara for coming on. Such a great conversation with her. Of course, Ed Tait to get ready for the Bombers. Great to catch up with Jake and, of course, Andrew Collier. The reason why we're talking about the salami shoulders is that salami shoulder shirt is going to go out to the first 1,000 fans tomorrow at the ballpark for the Goldeyes game. So get there early if you're going to get it. In the meantime, though, enjoy the action tonight. Thanks again to all the sponsors of WST that makes the show happen each and every day. And make sure to join us for a big Friday show tomorrow with our good friend Ken Wiebe, taking some time off his busy golf schedule of 36 holes a day to join us. And we'll also dive in to the lineup and rosters for Bombers as they head to Calgary to take on the Stampeders. And of course, it's not a Friday without a marble race on Winnipeg Sports Talk. So we'll see you then tomorrow at 1. Have a great night. Enjoy the football game, and we'll talk about it all tomorrow as we get ready for Bombers Stamps and a big sports weekend tomorrow right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.